Hi, it's Nell, and today I'm doing a video about a plant that I really love, and I know that it's one of your favorite plants too, because it is our most popular post. Not our most popular video, but our most popular blog post, and that's string of pearls. I've done quite a few posts, maybe 3 or 4, on string of pearls in the past, but it was years ago, and I'm like, it's time for a string of pearls. Something about string of pearls. And I've grown them as a houseplant, but I have more experience with growing them outdoors. And that is what this video is about, growing string of pearls outdoors. I want to share my care and growing tips with you. Now this is the first of 3 videos and posts about string of pearls. I just want to tell you that I've grown them outdoors in Santa Barbara. Actually, I grew quite a few outdoors in Santa Barbara because I used to sell string of pearls cuttings. I don't do that anymore, but I did. I sold a lot of cuttings. And I am growing one here in Tucson also. So I have experience in 2 very different climates growing string of pearls. And I have found that growing string of pearls outdoors is easier than growing them as houseplants. And that is what the 3rd video is going to be about, why string of pearls can be tricky to grow as a houseplant. But let's get on to the string of pearls growing outdoors extravaganza. Okay, enough of looking at me. We want to see the string of pearls plant. And there it is right there. It's in the hanging pot with the string of hearts and the string of bananas. The string of bananas has grown like crazy. Both the string of pearls and the string of bananas are flowering. And the string of hearts is too. But anyway, it is a hanging plant. In nature, it actually grows as a ground cover. It creeps along, but we grow it as a hanging plant. And mine is about 30 inches long there. My string of pearls in Santa Barbara, my largest one was about 4 feet long, and I had pruned it so they can get quite long. And when growing string of pearls outside, you want to grow it in either bright shade or filtered light. You need to protect it from the direct hot sun. And that's why I only have one of them here in Tucson, because we have so much sun. It just happens to be a cloudy day because we just had rain. Yay, we love the clouds. But it'll burn like crazy in any hot sun. So in terms of watering, it's hard to say. I can just tell you what I do here because I don't know what your environment is, but it is better to let them go on the dry side than to overwater them because they mush out pretty darn fast. I didn't water my string of pearls as often in Santa Barbara as I do here. Yeah, this is a hotter climate with more sun. In the winter, I water it about probably every 10 days. I water this pot. In the summer, I water it twice a week. But as I said, it is better to keep it on the dry side than to keep it too wet. And here are those gorgeous pearls. They're nice and plump at this time of year. In the winter, it is February 16th. In the summer, they look a little not as robust because it's so hot here. It can get 110. But speaking of temperatures, if it's going below 34 degrees, I will cover mine. I think I've covered it 6 times this winter. It hasn't been covered in a while, but they can go cool. Just don't let them get below freezing. In terms of soil, succulent and cactus mix. It needs to drain really, really well. I use one that is formulated here in Tucson. It's really, really chunky. Even if you buy a succulent and cactus mix, like a big brand, you might want to add some perlite or some pumice to it to even furtherly amend the drainage. In terms of fertilizing, I just give mine a dose of worm compost and compost in the spring, and that's all I give them. If you want to fertilize them, you can just use something like kelp or fish emulsion or a balanced liquid organic fertilizers, something like 555. Yeah, that would be fine, but I found that worm compost and compost works just fine for mine. In terms of pests, mine haven't ever gotten any, but I imagine they could get like aphids or mealybugs. Have your string of pearls growing outside ever gotten any pests? Please let us know. And in terms of pruning, you only need to do it to control the length or to maybe take off the dead flowers. I do that actually just by pinching them off. Oh, they smell so good. And if you want to take cuttings, if you want to propagate this, that's the only reason I have ever pruned them. And speaking of propagation, I've done a whole video about taking cuttings and also planting them. That was part of my selling string of pearls cuttings shtick I had going on, so I will leave the link to that down below. And as to flowers, oh yes, it does flower. If you want to find out more about the flowers, stick around for the next video, because that's what that's all about. String of pearls flowering. I hope this isn't too blurry, but it's hard to get it focused in. I just want to tell you that if you live in a colder climate and you want to put your string of pearls outdoors, I will give you a few tips on that in the blog post. And also there will be more details about growing string of pearls outdoors in general in the blog post. And the link to that is down below and also on our website, joyousgarden.com. Hopefully you can see the string of bananas there. It's doing really well. It's a senecio also, closely related to the string of pearls, and it is flowering. So I hope you have found this video about growing string of pearls outdoors to be helpful. It's really easy to grow it outdoors. And I have a lot more videos coming your way, so stay tuned for those. I thank you for all your likes and your subscribes. I really appreciate them. Now let's get out in the garden or into our indoor gardens and make our worlds a more beautiful place. As always, I thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for those couple more string of pearls videos coming up soon after this.